In the winter of 1947, a Vatican Monsignor vanished without a trace. Days before, he had confided in a fellow clergyman that he had seen something no one should ever see, the locked chamber deep beneath the Apostolic Palace. No name, no record, only silence. The Vatican never released a statement. His name was erased from internal logs, but rumors survived. Whispers of a hidden room, sealed for centuries, where knowledge too dangerous for the world has been buried. This is not just another Vatican mystery. This is about what lies behind a door that should not exist, and why it must remain closed. The Vatican is often seen as a spiritual center, a place of prayer, tradition, and ancient rituals. But behind its sacred halls lies a complex infrastructure few outsiders ever witness. Beneath the Apostolic Palace and St. Peter's Basilica exists a network of archives, catacombs, and restricted chambers known only to a small circle of authorized personnel. Among these spaces is the Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly called the Secret Archive. Despite the dramatic name, much of its contents are simply historical documents. But access is severely limited. Only accredited scholars with direct Vatican approval may enter, and only for specific research purposes. Yet some former employees, including guards and assistants, have spoken in private about another area. A section not listed in the archive's map, not accessible by key, monitored constantly. This is what some call the forbidden zone of the Vatican. It is said to be located behind a sealed wall near the lower vaults. No entryway, no nameplate, only surveillance and silence. A handful of technicians have claimed that motion is detected within, even when the space is supposed to be empty. Others describe symbols etched into the doorway, symbols not recognized as Catholic or Roman. There are no official mentions of this area in any published Vatican layout, no documentation of its construction. It appears in no photos, no records, no official discussions. And yet, the stories persist. One former cleric claimed that every pope is briefed about this place upon his election. Another whispered that even the pope himself is not granted unrestricted access. Only a small, unnamed order oversees it. Their names are never made public. Their presence is not acknowledged. If true, this chamber may be the most closely guarded secret of the Vatican, a place where the Church keeps what the world must never discover. If secrets like this truly exist within the heart of the Vatican, imagine what else has been hidden throughout history. We search for what others prefer to ignore, so if you want to keep exploring these buried truths, support our journey by liking this video and subscribing to Ancient Mysteries Unveiled. Some doors can only be opened together. Inside the restricted depths of the Vatican's archives are said to be manuscripts never meant for public eyes. These are not Bibles or papal letters. They are texts that challenge the very foundations of church doctrine. One of them is the original Book of Enoch, a text excluded from most modern biblical canons. It speaks of angels descending to earth, forbidden knowledge given to humans, and a pre-flood world ruled by hybrid beings. Scholars believe this book was considered too dangerous. It blurs the line between divine and alien. Another rumored manuscript is the Book of Abraham the Jew. Alchemical in nature, this lost grimoire supposedly passed through the hands of Nicholas Flamel and contains instructions for transmutation, immortality, and dimensional travel. Some believe a copy was obtained by the Vatican centuries ago and locked away for fear of misuse. Then there are fragments of the Gospel of Judas, where Jesus confides in Judas, asking him to betray him as part of a divine plan. This gospel redefines the roles of betrayal and loyalty. It suggests a spiritual hierarchy where only the truly awakened can see the truth. For the Church, these ideas threaten centuries of doctrine. Some sources mention scrolls written in languages not identified by linguists. Others describe books that generate physical discomfort when touched, texts that seem to read the reader. One ex-archivist, under anonymity, claimed to have seen a book bound in skin. Another told of a codex that emitted a low, constant vibration, as if alive. Why would the Vatican keep such items? The answer is clear: to protect the faithful from spiritual confusion, or perhaps to protect its authority from collapse. Because if the public knew what was written in those pages, it might question everything it believes. Among the most whispered rumors is the existence of a collection known as the Demon Files, a series of documents, recordings, and relics tied to exorcisms performed by the Church that were never made public. The Vatican acknowledges the existence of demonic possession. It even trains exorcists. But what is not disclosed is the scale, the violence, and the inexplicable phenomena that some cases present. According to testimonies from former insiders, the secret archive includes thousands of handwritten reports. Some are said to include voices recorded during rituals, written testimonies of levitation, knowledge of unknown languages, and even physical transformations. One case reportedly involved a young girl in southern Italy. The attending priest described her speaking in flawless Aramaic and Hebrew, languages she had never studied. Her eyes changed color during the ritual, and she exhibited superhuman strength. After the exorcism, the priest vanished. His name was never mentioned again. Some claim there are drawings created by the possessed, shapes, sigils, or maps that resemble no known tradition, but match occult patterns described in ancient Mesopotamian tablets. There are even rumors that one Vatican division, known only by a code name, is dedicated to containing these manifestations. They allegedly categorize demons by type, strength, and origin, some of which do not match Christian theology at all. More disturbing is the claim that not all cases end with the expulsion of the entity. Some are said to remain dormant. In rare instances, the hosts were never healed, but instead transferred to institutions under direct Vatican observation. If these files exist, they would confirm something terrifying. Demonic activity is not isolated, and it may not be fully understood even by the Church. And if it cannot be understood, then it cannot be controlled. So the question remains, why keep these cases hidden? Perhaps the answer is simple: because knowing they're real would be enough to break the world. The Vatican is not only a sanctuary of theology. Some believe it is also a vault of technology, ancient devices recovered across centuries, whose origins remain unexplained. According to esoteric historians, certain artifacts held in the Vatican's deepest vaults were discovered during crusades, colonization, and archaeological missions sponsored by the Church. These were not religious in nature, they were mechanical, energetic, and silent. One story speaks of a black sphere found in Mesopotamia. It reacts to sound frequencies, vibrating only when specific chants are uttered in Sumerian. The artifact was never displayed, never documented publicly. It was transported directly to Rome under diplomatic secrecy. Another device resembles a disc, engraved with concentric patterns. Some researchers claim it is similar to the Antikythera mechanism, yet predates it by centuries. The disc allegedly projects shifting light patterns when exposed to solar rays, images of constellations, planetary alignments, and symbols matching ancient Egyptian rites. There are even accounts of sealed containers said to emit low-frequency hums when opened. Not electrical, not mechanical, something else, something unknown. Church scholars who have spoken anonymously suggest that the Vatican has long collected these objects not out of scientific curiosity, but to prevent their misuse, a kind of spiritual quarantine. One source claimed that during the early 20th century, a group of Jesuits attempted to activate one of these artifacts using prayers from ancient grimoires. The room reportedly collapsed. The event was buried, literally and historically. Why would a spiritual institution guard technology? Because these devices defy doctrine. They imply knowledge that predates the Bible, knowledge not given by God, but perhaps stolen from something older. If even one of these objects were proven real and functional, it could rewrite history, science, and theology in a single moment. And perhaps that is exactly why they remain hidden. The Knights Templar were warriors, but they were also seekers. Their base of operations was established directly on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, the same location where the ancient Temple of Solomon once stood. For nearly a decade, the Templars dug beneath the site in secret. Historical records are vague about what they were searching for, but Templar legends speak of hidden relics, scrolls, and ancient wisdom left behind by prophets and high priests. Some accounts claim they found it. Others say they found something else entirely. What they allegedly uncovered was not brought to Europe in open ceremony. It was transported in silence, guarded by sworn brothers, and placed into the hands of those who understood its value. But it did not go to France, England, or any crown. According to some sources, it was entrusted to the Church, not publicly, but through hidden agreements between Templar leadership and high Vatican officials. This knowledge, some say, became part of the Forbidden Archive. After the sudden arrest and execution of many Templars in 1307, their secrets scattered. Some were hidden in remote strongholds, others encoded into architecture. But certain items, perhaps even blueprints for ancient machines or prophetic texts, may have been locked deep within the Vatican itself. One theory even claims that Chinan parchment, which absolved the Templars of heresy, was quietly stored away to prevent any resurgence of their order. It was found centuries later, buried in the Vatican's own archives. But if the Church suppressed their legacy, why preserve their writings at all? Perhaps because the Templars had discovered truths that could not be destroyed. Truths about origins, energy, and the nature of divine power. And the Vatican, rather than burn them, chose to contain them. Hidden high in the mountains of Arizona, a powerful telescope scans the skies. It is operated in part by the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, a project that has long stirred conspiracy. But the focus is not only on stars or galaxies. It is directed toward a specific region of the sky, a dark zone, a place some astronomers have called active. The observatory includes an instrument once nicknamed Lucifer. Though officially renamed due to controversy, the name remains burned into public memory. Some believe it stands for something more than an acronym, something symbolic. Why would the Vatican invest in high-powered astronomy? And why focus on this region in particular? According to leaked internal notes, the Church is not merely studying the cosmos, it is monitoring for activity, for signs. Some say the Vatican suspects the arrival or return of something, not extraterrestrial in the usual sense, but ancient and intelligent. Some have linked this with prophecies involving watchers, beings described in apocryphal texts like the Book of Enoch. These entities fell from the heavens to interact with humanity. They taught forbidden knowledge, altered genetics, and introduced chaos. They were not gods, they were exiled observers, and they may still be watching. One retired Vatican researcher claimed that signals had been detected, pulses of unknown origin, rhythmic and non-random, coming from deep space. The signals allegedly match blips found in certain medieval codices sealed in the archives. If true, this suggests a cosmic link between ancient symbols and real-time data, a connection between the mystic and the astronomical. And perhaps that is why the Vatican guards both its sky and its vaults, because it is not just looking outward, it is waiting. If the Vatican is tracking something in the heavens that connects to forbidden texts and fallen beings, then the boundaries between science, prophecy, and control may already be dissolving. If you're still watching, it means you feel it too, that quiet sense that there's more out there than we're told. Help us keep pulling the thread. Like this video and subscribe to Ancient Mysteries Unveiled, where no truth is too buried to be uncovered. Beneath the vast structures of the Vatican lies a chamber with no official name, no blueprints, no registry. It is not part of the public tour. Not even most cardinals know of its existence. It is said to be sealed by ancient locking mechanisms that require more than keys, symbols, rituals, and access codes known only by a chosen few. Those who claim to have seen it describe a door unlike any other in the Vatican. Not grand, but imposing, made of dark iron, engraved with unfamiliar marks. Some resemble Hebrew. Others look like Sumerian or even Enochian script, the so-called language of angels. The room is rumored to be under constant surveillance, though no one is seen entering or exiting. Sensors are said to be embedded in the walls, monitoring not only physical presence, but fluctuations in temperature, sound, and electromagnetic fields. Inside, according to one leaked description, are not books or paintings. There are objects, some encased in crystal, others resting on stone altars marked with protective seals. One is said to be wrapped in cloth that has never been unwrapped. Another emits a faint hum. The chamber's guardians reportedly belong to an unnamed order within the Vatican. Their identities are unknown to the public. They answer only to the papal inner circle and are forbidden from speaking about their role. Some suspect the room holds more than relics, that it contains something sentient, a presence. One former assistant claimed he was warned never to pray near the chamber, not because it was unholy, but because something inside might answer. The room without a name is not a myth. Too many indirect references exist, too many patterns. It is the Vatican's final defense, a place where the Church keeps what even it cannot fully explain, a place built not to preserve, but to contain. In the deepest part of the Vatican archive, beyond the books, beyond the relics, beyond the room without a name, there is said to be a prophecy. Not just any prophecy. A text so guarded that it has only been read by 3 people in the last century. According to internal whispers, it was sealed with a binding oath. The penalty for revealing it is excommunication, and something worse. Many believe this prophecy is a continuation of the third secret of Fatima, the apocalyptic vision received by 3 children in 1917. The part released publicly spoke of war, suffering, and persecution. But several high-ranking clergy insisted the full vision was never made public. Some claim the missing portion describes not just the fall of nations, but the fall of the Church itself, a betrayal from within, a death at the highest level, and something arriving after, a force or event that changes the nature of the world forever. The sealed prophecy is allegedly encoded in ciphered Latin, laced with numerology from the Kabbalah, and phrasing lifted directly from the Book of Revelation. Scholars who have glimpsed fragments said it describes a figure in white, fallen in silence, followed by darkness that consumes the sky. Some researchers link this to the prophecies of St. Malachi, which describe a finite number of popes, ending with one who shall feed the flock amid many tribulations before the final judgment. If the prophecy is real, and if it remains hidden in that forbidden chamber, then the Vatican holds not only the past, but also the possible end of everything. And someone somewhere decided the world wasn't ready to hear it. Throughout this journey, one question lingers above all others. If the Vatican's hidden room holds only myths, misinterpretations, or old legends, why guard it so fiercely? Why layer it in surveillance, silence, and secrecy? Why erase those who speak of it? History is often messy. Faith can withstand contradiction. And yet, there are things so disruptive, so destabilizing, that even the strongest institutions fear their release. Perhaps these secrets were locked away to protect the world, or perhaps they were hidden to protect power. A room with no name, books that should not exist, devices that defy time, entities that whisper in darkness, and a prophecy too devastating to be spoken aloud. The Vatican claims to be the guardian of divine truth, but somewhere in its depths, it may be hiding something far older and far more dangerous. And if that room is ever opened, nothing will ever be the same again. However, there's more you need to see. If this intrigued you, don't miss our video on the most evil popes in history. Subscribe to Ancient Mysteries Unveiled. There's so much more they don't want you to know.